Good morning, folks. Phil Gallagher here for another Legacy stream. This one is supported by Garrett Y, who donated to see an Aluren deck in action, and they left it to me to pick the exact deck list. In a couple of my recent videos, I have played against MTGO user Charble, who has been playing this, I think the best way to describe it is like a Nick Fit Aluren hybrid deck. It takes the Cabal Therapy and Veteran Explorer ramp package from Nick Fit, and also the Academy Rector as another way to cheat Aluren into play. And then it uses the traditional Aluren shell for the combo finish. Now, in case you're not familiar with how this works, Aluren lets you cast it lets any player cast their creatures that cost 3 or less without paying their mana cost and as if they had flash. So the general idea is that Cavern Harpy can bounce your creatures at the cost of 1 life. And then Parasitic Strix, as long as you control a black permanent, it drains for 2. So once you have Cavern Harpy and Parasitic Strix, you can go and infinitely drain your opponent. Yes, Nathan, I changed 2 cards from Charble's build. I thought a couple of the sideboard cards were a little bit suspicious, and so I edited them. The main deck here, in many ways, will kind of look like some of the stuff that you're seeing from Espervile. You have nice value-oriented creatures like Baleful Strix, Recruiter of the Guard, and Baron. And when you recycle those triggers, those cards become very, very strong. And because you can recycle them via the Cavern Harpy, that's just a very powerful way to go. Note that Arctic Merfolk also is a good way to recycle these triggers. The sideboard, generally speaking, is full of good bug stuff, but we do have 2 white sources in the deck. There is a Savannah, there we go, and there is also a Tundra. And that means that we can play some powerful proactive sideboard cards that are good against combo decks in the form of Meddling Mage. Now, Charble's build had a Squandered Resources, which I cut for a Carpet of Flowers, and then 1 Containment Priest that I cut for a second Carpet of Flowers. I have been just so impressed by Carpet of Flowers that I want to shove it into any deck that is possibly green. I think I'm gonna stick with the carpet. This is a deck that is full of slow-ish, dirtily cards. And since the format is just so blue right now, I just really want to have this effect for the post-sideboard games. The way that I lose against Delver is that I just get my handful of things countered because I can't play around their soft permission. Of course, yes. I mean, I've been beating the dead horse that I think this is the best sideboard card in the format. If I am playing a green deck, I basically want this in just about all of them. Yeah, so I do not think Squandered Resources is a bad card. I think that has a very specific situation where it's good. If you are playing against a fast non-blue combo deck, or if you are playing against a fast blue combo deck where they don't have very many islands, say you're playing against a show and tell deck of some kind that also has soul lands, or you're playing against an Urza Echo deck, Squander Resources is going to be better than Carpet there. Reaple Cheap, thank you very much for your continued support. Generally speaking, I like the sideboard here. Notably, this deck is opting to play 3 Force of Wills in the main deck instead of the traditional 4. Just kind of hedging a little bit less against combo in game 1, but with 2 Forces, 2 Meddling Mages, 3 Surgicals, a couple of Veils. The combo game should get quite a bit better in the post-sideboard games. All right, let's go ahead and hop into some games. Folks, if you're excited about this, please consider, throwing me a like if you're watching on YouTube. That sort of thing is one of the greatest predictors of a video's success. All right, let's battle. Okay, I've kept an opening hand that is a little bit slow. But if we get to Aluren, I am probably just going to win. Delver seems the most likely after this start. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know where Charble lives, but perfect mana. This is a little bit early for a lot of Americans right now. Like, it's 8 a.m. on the East Coast, which is early for a lot of normal people. Yeah, it's reasonable if you're on Eastern time, but if you're in, Central time or earlier in the United States, it's early. Oh geez. Oh, okay. Um, Looking at my MTG bot notification, it appears that my opponent is double queuing. So YouTube folks, this round is probably going to go slow. If you are going to watch, one match today, YouTube folks, you might want to skip to the next match. I think this one is going to go slow. Clark, I try not to stream Food Chain because it's a bad viewer experience. The physical process of like going off via Food Chain is physically slow and quite boring. Like, it's tedious for me, and it has like 5 minutes of the chat interacting, but it looks real bad on YouTube. Um, so Food Chain and Bomberman, for the same reason, are two decks that are on my no-fly list. I don't play those on stream. I think those are the only things that are on that no-fly list. I think Esper Vial was on there for a while, but I think I forgave it. It's not exactly a Magic Online needs an update thing. It's more like Magic Online doesn't quite do the same things that paper magic does, in that, like, in paper magic you can just go and say, like, I'm going to do this 300 times. Well, that same sort of thing does not exist in Magic Online. And some of the things that you're doing, even if you could create like shortcuts that say I'm going to do this 50 times, they're not deterministic. Like, a lot of times with the Food Chain combos, you are drawing some indeterminate number of cards. And like, you don't know, like, where exactly am I going to end up after doing some of these things. This happens a lot with, like, when you're trying to chain together Baleful Strixes or Uro draws. Yeah, the infinite mana part is very easy to shortcut. But some of the intermediate, like, I can't quite go off, but I can draw a shit ton of cards stuff, is not. My opponent's Soft Disruption is going to obliterate me here. I think that that Naughty Boros list had a lot of potential. Like, that was a strong brew. The brews aren't always strong, but that one had a special place in my heart. Is this the look at 3, put one in your hand, you can play the other? Nice. Yeah, well, I'm glad for the people who stuck it out on the YouTube end and didn't skip this round that we actually end up with something to do here. So anyway, Carpet of Flowers. Carpet of Flowers would look pretty good here, huh? Good morning, Echo. Yeah, I believe Illusionary Mask like is bugged and has been bugged for a very long time. All right, I guess I have a combo finish, so I like just shouldn't immediately concede, but this is pretty bad. Reaple Cheap, is it the white splash that hurts here? Because like if I assume that these Recruiter of the Guards would just be like some other card that's like blue and costs 3, I would still be struggling, right? And because I have Forest, I still couldn't cast these Baleful Strix. Eh, Carpet! Carpet save me! Alright. I want Carpet. I want Plague Engineer. I want Decay. Deed and Veil are playable. Carpet can cast half of the Owl. I think Miri's Guile comes out. Like, Carpet of Flowers is not a 1-for-1 replacement there, but, like, it's another 1-mana play that is good. I think I'm going to sub that out. Intuition feels slow. I rely on Veteran Explorer just dying in combat. Probably. I think I want to trim but not cut therapy. Like, I'm not going to mind it as a way to check for counter magic before casting an Aluren, but I don't know that I really want to go ham with that effect. Generally speaking, I like a lot of my cards. If I'm willing to just, like, try to let Veteran Explorer be a blocker in combat, I could cut the 2 Cabal therapies and then also bring in Pernicious Deed. I could also just cut Academy Rector, since, like, trying to resolve the 4-mana things is hard. Deed can be so good at cleaning up things from the early turns. Blue count is pretty low. Do I do just cut 4 so well? That's... Blue count is kind of low. Maybe that's part of the reason why there's only 3 in the main deck. Okay, if I cut Force of Will, I bring in these 3 things. I could buy that. And we're mostly looking to play a fair game, and if we combo off, great. Uh, Um, uh, like, I have two basic lands. I have a removal spell. Uh, okay, this is fine. Yeah. I picked Charble's list because I've played against Charble a handful of times, and I've liked their list seeing it in practice. But now that I'm looking at these hands, like, I don't know if playing this 4-color version was a good idea. I guess I want a Bayou. Yeah, like, Charble has played really well against me a couple of different times. Yeah, I'm not really using my graveyard too much. I'm good with that. Yeah, it's awkward here because like I got black last turn to like work towards green green while also being able to cast my abrupt decay. This means I can't recruiter this turn. Yeah, I believe if you exile Veteran Explorer before its trigger resolves, you don't get it. I also do have Cabal Therapies and Uros, so like it makes sense. But like conceptually, I'm not like super afraid of a relic. Not like when you're playing Dredge and a Leyline comes down and you're just like, ah, shit. It's gonna be a slog. Yeah. Generally speaking, I am of the opinion that a deck should be as few colors as it can be. I like this. This just lets me jam Aluren 2 turns in a row. Then I can fetch away the dead card under it. I'm curious to see how long this card sticks around for. Because, like, when you play that on your turn 3 and you can play a land drop off of it, like, that's pretty strong. And when you draw it late game, it's pretty strong. But it's just, like, not very respectable in the early game. Like, that's not a particularly great turn 2 play. Thank you, Genin. I hope you're having a great day. All right, I have green green. This can get me Savannah for white. Sure. I assume that this first one just gets countered easily. Oh, Well. um, this was unexpected. Huh. My opponent has 6 cards in hand and not even a daze? Not even the tiniest daze? So Charble, I cut the Squandered Resources and the Containment Priest from your list for 2 Carpet of Flowers. Because I have a fetish for Carpet of Flowers. Yeah, I think I still like the general sideboard plan that I did here. Yeah, Cardboard Fjord. Generally speaking, I have this rule in Legacy. If I don't know what the card does, I counter it. If I go, I don't know why that card is in my opponent's deck, that's usually a sign like I'm missing something and I should stop that thing. And then the secondary rule is if the deck is named after it, counter it. Ugh, man. Mana in these opening hands has not looked good. Hell yeah. We've got Carpet. I keep this. Um... Strix is a little hard to cast here, and Uro doesn't have fuel here. I think the Uro is worse, but it's close. You wanna junk the second Aluren? I guess that's fair. Yeah, I mean, that's why I kept 2 Allurens last game. I figured the first one would get countered, and then I could actually resolve the second one. Oh yeah, please don't take my sideboarding as gospel. I haven't played Aluren in over a year. Maybe at like a year and a half. 2 or 3 years ago. Oh, probably. Oh no, it's longer than that now. Maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I worked on Aluren a little bit with Tyler James Gardner, who was streaming it a whole lot and trying to push the deck forward. I mean, there's the whole like sunk cost fallacy. It's like, it's been working out for this long. Stuck. All right. I'm going to play this turn out like this. This is one of the higher upside ways that I can just play this turn. It's possible Carpet is so good that I should wait one turn to play it around days, but I think I just deal with that here. So the reason I've played Savannah out this turn and not something that casts Baleful Strix is that if I'm going to get Wastelanded, I want my Savannah to get Wastelanded, not the things that will cast Baleful Strix. Well, there's my Savannah getting Wastelanded. Not immediately, though. Let's fetch around Stifle. And I think I'm going to ignore my Aluren in the short term and just grab some basic lands. So I can have bug worth of basic lands. Plus, like, if I have at least 14 different people who are, like, into me in terms of a relationship, that's pretty strong, right? Like, way better than one person. Yeah, I mean, I only have one white source left in the deck, plus the other Carpet of Flowers and the Allurans. So we're definitely not going to be casting the Cabal therapies easily. Or not, sorry, not the Cabal therapies, the white cards easily. I have 2 forests. Nope, wrong deck list. I have 2 forests here. I do have 2 forests here. 2 forests, 2 islands, 1 swamp. Yeah, it's Titan time, and then we probably cast an Aluren hoping that it gets countered. Eternal Witness is not bad. Not great in the face of Relic, though. And again, I'm just going to fetch around Stifle. There's 3 cards in graveyard. The RO is maybe not coming back immediately. I save this fetch land. I probably save this fetch land. My individual points of life are actually worth a lot right now. The Relic's a little annoying here. That is not good for me. I don't have Eternal Witness into Aluren next turn. Taking 6-ish damage here. Don't have Eternal Witness into Baleful Strix next turn either. A bit of a sad Eternal Witness, but I just need to fire it off so the Young Pyromancer doesn't attack. And I'm just not going to play a land from hand in order to not show a card that I haven't shown yet. Or no. They have literally, like, any sort of, like, bouncer removal spell here, I'm dead. Yeah, alright. So now I'm deterministically dead. I block Young Pyromancer. I take 5 damage. GG's. Okay. I am on the play here. I think I'm gonna wait until I have some amount of information about what my opponent is doing and then try to cast Cabal Therapy on turn 2. Actually, is that true? Maybe that's not true, since I want Ponder to pitch to Force a Will. Yeah, I've changed my mind. Let's just play this game out in a nice, solid way. Oh, yeah. Cards that I can take aren't, like, super great to take here. I guess I'll just take the freebie. I'm gonna take the days. Now I know I don't really need to force anything in the immediate future. I might need to force an Uro on the way back down later. Delta can give me white, and then I immediately get wastelanded. Pretty far away from Aluren. I don't know that I want any 2 of these cards. Yeah, that's better. That's just stable mana. Well, stable-ish mana. I'm not going to be casting this Recruiter of the Guard. Sure. Force it? Feels bad that Stifle was the one unknown there. I'm playing out the Underground Sea in the hopes that it keeps my opponent from casting the front side of Uro this turn. I also, in theory, want to get Wastelanded so that I can fetch a white source and have a better chance of that resolving later. It's a kick in the teeth here that I don't have a basic planes. I mean, I can believe that, Charble. Yeah, I making sure my statement is clear. In this situation, it really sucks that I don't have a basic planes. That Force of Will is very bad currently. Specifically because if I try to hardcast it, I just trade with a Daze. And if I'm going to try to use it to protect a combo, I need to draw like both Aluren and a blue card. I, just gonna get Delvered. Q. Malfi, morning's rough so far. I'm doing well. Uh, our mana base is not cooperating with us. we'll force it. Not that it matters, because I'm dead in 1 to 2 turns anyway. We knew we were playing around the days that was in their hand. Alright. Carpet. Deed. Decay. Probably Plague Engineers. I think I went out with this, out with these, out with this, out with this. I don't know that I actually like the Veil. I think the therapy is worse than you do, but I will cede position here. Bug basic lands plus 4th land for Aluren. I think there's a world here where you could consider not playing Baleful Strix this turn to play Strix around days, but I think if I get a counterspell out of my opponent's hand, that's an okay trade, because I have my Aluren that I would like to resolve later. Thunder's great. I need gas of some kind. Uro is gas. Just another basic? I think just another basic is fine here. Just, like, continue to play around Stifle and Wasteland to the best of my ability. So we'll get a feel for what my opponent has this turn. Like, we could just get, like, bolted here or something, and then my opponent gets to crash in. Alright, they are land light. Play basic florist. Cast. I need another I need to draw a blue land in order to Uro Strix. So I'll leave up Swamp, but I don't have that guaranteed. Which is unfortunate, but like it is what it is. Alright, we whiffed, but we found another Uro, so that's not the end of the world. Didn't I draw Explorer, like, last game or 2 games ago? I did the Veteran Explorer Cabal Therapy thing at least once. Ooh, no Delver flips. Excellent. Yeah, that's fine. I have bad news for you, opponent. I just have another one. Christian, or no, Christian Hyde, thank you very much for subscribing. I appreciate the support. I think I just beat my opponent in a fair way this game. So I think I'm going to cast this as my bait spell, oddly enough. And then just try to resolve a Baleful Strix this turn and like work towards Uro later. It's weird when the combo piece is the bait spell, but it's what's happening here. Alright, force pitching Uro. Obviously pretty happy with that. Yeah, my board is very strong. Forked Bolt is the big thing that makes me scared currently. Otherwise, I'm pretty good. Yeah, Lightning Bolt is fine. Like, that's a 1-for-1 trade on my 2-for-1 creature. Dismember? Ooh. Well, excellent. Glad to have you here. Yeah, I don't really care about my opponent's hand very much right now. I need to plot out my turn, though. So 2 mana is Abrupt Decay on a Delver. 3 mana is an Uro. I could ponder first, try to find a land. I really need to find 2 lands in order for, like, Uro to, like, do the Uro thing this turn. I like the Decay Witness Ponder line. I think I'm just going to take the Decay over the Strix. The Strix is more inherent value, but I just don't want my stuff to get countered right now. Like, the easiest way I die with my cards as good as they are is just by me not being able to play my stuff. I do need second blue for Uro. I think the... I'm going to put Baron on top. I am happy enough to draw the Baron. The Carpet is like a good card in this matchup, but I've already made it to the late game with a respectable life total, and I have 7 lands. This is not the ideal time for Carpet. Like, you want to Carpet on, like, turns 1 through 3. Ooh. That's also ever so slightly spooky. Now, we're going to Cabal Therapy Goyf for style. I think we're at the point where I can just flex. Alright, opponent has Force of Will and Brainstorm. Ball Therapy. Target you. Sacrifice this. And Brainstorm. I'll leave you with just a Force of Will that does nothing on its own on current board. Oh, I can't cast this. Alright, then I'll Decay. Guess this. Oh, yeah, I will put that onto the battlefield. Now I have green, green, blue. This just needs to get something blue, like say an underground sea. I guess tundra is probably better. Blue, blue, green, green. Yeah, I I obviously liked taking brainstorm in that spot. That is why I took it. I will be fine with my opponent having a force of will that they have nothing to pair with and they can't hard cast. I just don't want my opponent to sculpt their hand and turn the force of will into something that I care about more. Like, I'm so good with my opponent 2-for-1ing themselves when I have an Uro around. Then why did you start talking about name and force? Just saying. Dueling Uro situation is going to be really weird. Interesting. Play Carpet of Flowers first so that Aluren is free. Your Flash Delver resolves. Um, is there anything that lets me just I can intuition for that doesn't resolve the clicking being a pain in the ass? I can just intuition for triple recruiter, right? Now this can just grab me the Parasitic Strix. Alright, how does this work? When this enters the battlefield, I bounce something. I don't have a black permanent yet. So let's cast this. Then cast this. Let's save targets for this. Always yield to this. Now I bounce Parasitic Strix. And do the loop. And we win. Alright, YouTube folks, we win this game. Okay. After a few more clicks, we get that. I don't think I want to change any of my sideboarding here. I think I'm just going to resubmit. Yeah, Hyperlink, the court video went really well. I was very happy with that. We're going to have to turbo through this game. We spent too much time talking about lines earlier. I honestly kind of hope that my opponent just tapped out for a 2-drop so that I can safely fetch around Stifle. Beautiful. And this is just going to be a game of F6 as many turns as I possibly can. Yeah, my hand is quite good here. I just have a pile of Abrupt Decays. And now if my opponent plays something like a Delver, I just get to eat that with a Plague Engineer around a daze. And if they don't, I just continue to Abrupt Decay things. If they don't play a thing, I Eternal Witness. I'm more afraid of something like a True Name Nemesis than anything else. Make. Getting to do all of this while completely playing around Stifle and Wasteland, which is also nice. I'm going to play the Plague Engineer. It's awkward if I get Force of Willed. And, like, there's a world where I should just decay this so that that world can't happen. but Hex Drinker's middle protection ability is not going to stop it from getting bounced by Baron, so I think I'm good with it. Sure, that's fine. No, I spent too much time talking about lines in a deck that I'm not familiar with. I'm just gonna be jamming most of my spells onto the board and then F6ing my turn. I've got 4 power in play. I have a lot of powerful top decks as well. I'm gonna do suboptimal sequencing here. Forgive me for that. So the optimal sequencing is obviously to make the attack first, so the Plague Engineer just can't be bolted. But time. I think this turn I will go ahead and do my attacks first. I'm gonna take those extra 3 or 4 seconds. I want to know how much damage I get in before I ponder. Sure. I would make that trade if I were the opponent as well. Like, all my opponent needs to do is survive for a minute and 40-something seconds of my clock. Things that kill Tarmogoyf are good. Get an Uro, get an Abrupt Decay. Let's get a Baleful Strix. Oh, nice. Baron gave me a card there. Okay. In terms of card quality, I've got this game locked up, but I'm going to lose to my clock here. I spent too much time talking about lines. That's fine. I don't care about that. Okay, I'm going to keep this hand. We've got a good, fair-ish hand. If creature combat is something that's happening this time, this hand is even better. Eh. I think they'll use their Blast Zone to get rid of Veteran Explorer. I don't. Um, it's a little awkward because, like, I know my opponent is a Wasteland Recursion deck, and so my mana's kind of bad. Ugh. Alright, so we played around Wasteland and then played into Rishadenport. My... Ugh. This is not going to be good for me. I need to probably naturally draw some lands. If I can get to 4 mana, I win, full stop. Doing that is going to be really difficult through Rishadenport and Wasteland, though. Yikes. Just yikes. I cannot really imagine winning here. I need to brainstorm to hit a third land drop. Can't Recruiter to shuffle here. The mana doesn't work. My opponent has Wasteland. Underground Sea is going to get destroyed. Brainstorm deeper. Oh, that's really good. That's insane. That's just so incredibly lucky. Uh, yeah. The reason to play the Parasitic Strix. To just put a 2/2 into play in case I get double ported off of green. Probably. The Bajuka Bog makes that awkward, though. Huh. Yeah, let's not. Because if Parasitic Strix dies, and then it gets Bojuka Bogged, I can't combo kill. I haven't mapped it out yet, but if my opponent can take me off of double green while also making Merit Lodge, I die. I guess they don't have a Grove yet to return Punishing Fire. I guess I can live a turn. They also, like, probably don't even need to make the Merit Lodge. So my opponent has just sent me a message, have to go, sorry, and they have conceded the match. Would I have drawn a green source? Would not have drawn a green source. Yeah, so if they would have ported me down, they could have ported me down and made Merit Lodge, or double ported me off of green and left me in a very awkward situation. All right. My opening hand is okay. It becomes pretty good if I can get rid of the Veteran Explorer. Are you a combo island or a control island? Probably Control Island. Not 100%. Because, like, Preordain is, like, a show and tell card. Okay, so we're probably playing against Miracles or a Bant control deck of some nature. You're just gonna, like, jam a turn 3 Mentor? That's a fairy. Can I bounce a Planeswalker? I can. Who do I want? Rector is really awkward against Swords to Plowshares. I don't have Cabal Therapy currently. I don't know. Maybe I still get it because, like, getting an Aluren into play at some point probably means that I just win. Oh, 100% SCK. We start in the Dirtle. Ponder first. Ponder first, play Baron, bounce Recruiter. Fetch a black source in process, probably Bayou. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna take this Harpy. Harpy plus Baron is cute. If I want blue this turn, this needs to be Underground Sea, though. We got a Shark Typhoon and a Force of Will. I will take that. Now, Cavern Harpy returns blue or black creatures, so this does not actually return a Recruiter of the Guard. Mm, mm. I'm going to pop that out so I don't forget about that. We'll attack Narset here, so that if Narset minuses, the Narset ability is gone. Now we'll Dirtle. This is kind of like comboing, except the opponent doesn't die. And it takes a billion turns. I have green. I can just get E-Wit. Mom, can we play Aluren? We have Aluren at home. Aluren at home. What? Excuse me? All right. Okay. 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 Uh. Okay. Turn's really awkward. I'm gonna get rid of this Narset so that I can E-Witness Ponder later and play out a creature that's quote unquote good. Never mind. Now I can E-Witness for Ponder and try to go off. You have the land? They lose to the land. Well, it resolved. Play. I don't think I have any line that wins. I can E-Witness for Baron. Baron bounce E-Witness. Cavern Harpy bounce Baron. E-Witness Ponder. Do that sort of thing twice. And see if that gets us there. Oh, that gets us there. Thank you, opponent. We needed the ponder hit. Like, I got 2 ponders, and if I whiffed on those, things got spooky because my opponent can Karn plus Sky Sovereign attack, shoot something down, bounce something else, play Lattice, and I probably lose. Okay. Deed sure doesn't destroy planeswalkers, huh? I would like carpet. The veteran explorers are definitely worse than normal. Like, both because my opponent has a bunch of basics and because, like, they have this Karn Microsynth Lattice package. I think I'm going these out. Which in turn makes the therapies worse. If I keep Rector in the deck, I need some therapies. I think these are the worst cards in the deck. With all these Teferis and Narsets and stuff, I might want more Decay. And Veil sounds a lot like Decay that cantrips. Or, Therapy that cantrips. I think I can make this substitution. Oof. Oh, this hand is not good either. My mana doesn't work. Can't cast Strix on 2. Don't have 3 lands for Uro. I think I still keep this one. But this hand is not good. Cantrips are good. Lands are good. I think this is blue-black to just increase the chance that I actually get to cast Baleful Strix next turn. Oh, this is fine. I think I'm going to be playing this game as if Back to Basics doesn't exist. Can't get Savannah. That doesn't cast Baleful Strix. I need to be thinking about blue, blue, green, green, but I also want white for Recruiter. So I think I'm going to grab Tundra. Nice. I think this deck needs carpet in every blue matchup. Okay. We take these. All right. We're gonna mulligan this one. The mana doesn't work. I will be keeping this hand. Let's keep our mana stable. All right. We have been paired against lands again. See if we just died a turn 2 Merit Lodge. I guess I should have considered playing out one of my other fetch lands to play into drawing Baleful Strix as my card for this turn. We need to stop this exploration life from the loam before it gets silly. Feel just so incredibly unfavored right now. Like, my hand doesn't do anything currently. I don't have a pitch card for a Valakut Exploration. I don't want to fetch a white source to cast Recruiter of the Guard. My opponent gets to dig pretty deep each turn. I keep the Brainstorm as a pitch card for this turn cycle. And we'll see if my opponent dredges the life from the loam. If they're going for natural draws, I probably keep the Brainstorm. But if they're going for dredges, it's probably time to get rid of the Brainstorm. That's good. Do I Brainstorm now? I probably Brainstorm now. Rector's interesting. If I am willing to get a non-basic, I can fetch, get white, and Recruiter. I think I saved the Recruiter for after Rector. I'm just going to pass the turn and not expose this Misty to a Wasteland. Starting to get into the territory where I have to be afraid of Field of the Dead as well. Alright, my opponent doesn't have Wasteland, so I'm going to go ahead and shuffle those cards off of the top of my library and get Savannah. Oh, maybe we can find Cabal Therapy and win. I have a Force of Will for a crop rotation. An Academy Rector is a creature that cannot die. By that, I mean if my opponent kills it with a Punishing Fire, it's bad for them. Hitting Aluren or Cabal Therapy is so incredibly good here that I'm going to go ahead and look. Or both! Why not both? Hot damn. I guess doing the Cabal Therapy route opens me up to Bojuka Bog, so I should probably not do that route. Let's just cast the one from hand. Alright. Recruiter. Or Recruiter. Or Recruiter. Or Recruiter. Or Recruiter. So Arctic Merfolk just lets me return this stuff. Get Baron. Sure. Baron. Caster Recruiter. Recruiter, yes. Grab Cavern Harpy. Cast with Aluren with Kicker. Guess return a Recruiter. There are probably optimal ways of doing this in terms of sequencing that plays around more stuff. But I don't have the reps in to know what those exact best lines are. You hold priority on the merfolk, they can't stop the loop. Oh, so it's a hold priority there. I think with Baron in hand, this is now safe as well. All right, good stuff. Okay. Um, Surgicals are fine. Abrupt decays are good. The force effects are okay. Meddling Mage does some stuff technically, but makes me want to fetch out early white, which I don't want to do. Force of Negation is good from Life from the Loam. Yeah, Deed is good. I feel like Therapies and Miri's Guile are pretty weak. Actually, I probably need at least one therapy for the Intuition. Mm. I'm not sure how I want to play this. I think I just play this, like, maximizing my chances of resolving the Aluren. I'm going to take out my therapies. I have to take out that Rector too, I think. And then I just play a couple more pieces of counter magic to stop Valakut exploration. Like, I can't abrupt decay my own Rector. The Rector just sitting on the table isn't particularly good. Like, I'll have a 1 of Deed to get rid of it if I board like this with my therapies out. Alright. uh, like... This is a very bad 6. Uh, I guess I'm good against Wasteland Recursion. Doesn't put enough lands into the graveyard to actually get the Uro back. Alright. I'm not gonna fetch. I could get punished by drawing my basics that I want to fetch. Black, blue. Just play this turn. Awkward. So I theoretically want forest, forest, island, island with this setup. And I drew the basic swamp. The Verdant Catacombs doesn't fetch the swamp anymore. Am I ignoring this Strix to just keep my mana consistent? I think I am. That's super awkward. That's such a feel bad. Like, I don't get to cast my cantrip. Alright. I am going to go ahead and fetch here. Let's get a blue and a green. We know we're not playing around port in this turn cycle. Deed is okay. I think I can get them to wasteland me off this Misty. No. I'm gonna go ahead and fetch a blue here. That way if I draw a cantrip, I can cast it and then Uro. Alright, one card short of Uro this turn. See what we can do with the rest of this. There's a world where I just blow the deed for 0 here to put my 5th card into the graveyard and junk Uro. But I would prefer my opponent not to play something like a Valakut Exploration in the next turn cycle. Okay, so there's a 5th card in graveyard. We can get to Uro that way. Hey. Dang it. Guess I should have attacked with Strix first. I will just go ahead and put that into play. I need to find an Aluren. All right. None of that is Aluren. My graveyard is literally empty, so Eternal Witness is bad. I'm not gonna take a Guile, take a turn off to play Guile, doing nothing else, and then deed my Guile away. I will take the random draws instead. Baron doesn't do anything while my opponent has Punishing Fire in hand. I'm just gonna go ahead and pass the turn here, I think. I want to get these Punishing Fires gone. That's what I'm going to use the Surgical for, rather than attacking life from the loam. This is a slog. Opponent's playing really patiently. I can't really force any action without using the Baron, which I would like to use once the Punishing Fires are gone. I might have to just play Baron next turn. But Baron is also some amount of Merit Lodge insurance. Ugh. Hey, that's a card. Yes, I will put this into play. Can play Cavern Harpy, try to bounce Baleful Strix with that. They Punishing Fire the Strix. That bounces Cavern Harpy back to my hand. Then I Surgical P-Fire. Alright, so we'll get a look at what's going on here. Sanctum Prelate, interesting. 2 Dark Depths. Opponent has Aethersworn Canonist and Return to Nature. I return this. Blast Zone up to 4. Blast Zone up to, oh, that Blast Zone up to 3. Sure, sure, sure. I'm looking to draw Aluren. I'm looking to draw cantrips. The Uro is Am I good with that just happening? I can force and then crack Deed and try to get Uro back. It cantrips and gets rid of a Blast Zone. I don't know that that's actually good. I think I'm just going to let that go. Keep the Force of Will for, like, the Canonist or something. Worse? There's 3 big cards left in their deck that I care about. Sanctum Prelate, and the Wear Tear. To a lesser extent, I care about Crop Rotation and Sylvan Library. Well, my opponent could immediately, like, resolve this and then pop Blast Zone is the problem. And that would leave me with my Metaphorical Pants down. Find Aluren! Oh, we did it. Cool. How do I go off through Blast Zone on 2 and Blast Zone on 3? I just essentially need to be able to go off twice. Alright, so cast this and hold priority. Cast Harpy. Trigger on the stack, cast Strix. Okay, so get this too. Does this trigger even if I don't... Oh no, I have a deed in play, so that's fine. That auto... Oh, I auto-yielded, and then I can't respond to my trigger anymore. Alright, that sucks. That's fine, we'll work through it somehow. I think with Baron in hand, I'm okay. Alright, this on this stack. Cast this. And so now I just combo off in response to that. Now my opponent doesn't have the mana to activate the other thing. Okay, cool. Alright, perfectly normal, nothing strange happened, 3-1 league. This league felt pretty bad. We got 2 of our match wins here because our opponents conceded to play in other events. So the strength of this build is that once you cast an Aluren, you almost always win on the spot because Recruiter of the Guard is so strong after Aluren. The weakness of this build is that the mana is considerably worse than in the just straight bug version. So, it might not seem like it's that much worse on the surface because you just have, 2 white producing lands. You have the Savannah and you have the Tundra. But you would very frequently like to cast Recruiter of the Guard as a fair spell, just to go and tutor up something else and grind value chains. But if you're trying to do that against a Wasteland deck, you run into the problem of, your white source gets Wastelanded and you can't cast these. or you cast these off your white source, the white source gets wastelanded, and then you can't just like value chain these things together. And it shuts off line like Recruiter for Academy Rector, Cast Rector, those sorts of things. And if you're trying to play towards actually casting these cards fairly, it makes it harder to do things like sequence so you can have all basics, or sequence so that you can cast Baleful Strix on turn 2. I feel like when I have played against Charble playing this deck, the deck looked pretty good on the other side of the table, but like they know what they're doing, they know the ins and outs, and I don't. And without knowing like exactly what I should be playing towards at all times, there are a bunch of micro mistakes that I'm making that overall make this deck feel not good. Conceptually, I don't like the Miri's Guile. Like, I boarded that out, I think, every single round, or maybe every round but one. I kind of want to be just playing another, like, value ETB creature of some kind in that slot. Like, I really like Miri's Guile in Enchantress, where that is an effect that draws a card as well. But, like, we're not even playing the 4th Ponder in this deck. And I would rather have, like, 4th Ponder or another Baleful Strix over that slot, I think. Nathan, technically 3-2, but it does not feel like it. Because 2 of our things were concessions. Admittedly, one of those rounds, like, we would have won if I wasn't streaming, because we just, like, timed out with, you know, the win pretty locked up. The intuition. Yeah, I don't know if the intuition is super necessary. Like, with 4th Ponder not being in the deck, and 4th Baleful Strix not being in the deck, I'd be looking to play those things. Like, I get that intuition can just be a tutor for an Aluren. But is that better than, like, adding 2 more things into your deck list that are cantrips? I don't know. Like, I don't have the reps to know. As far as sideboard things, I felt like I had okay sideboard options in my rounds. I don't really love Veil of Summer in these sorts of decks. Like, I always feel like these tap-out decks that are really looking to play a whole bunch of creatures don't benefit super well from the Veil of Summer. Because the dream is to, like, cast an Aluren backed by Veil of Summer, right? And the reality often is, like, you don't have green, 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 and 5 mana in order to do those sorts of lines. I haven't been super impressed by Veil in these mid-rangey sorts of decks nearly as much as I have in them, like, decks like TES or something like that, or a Show and Tell deck where, like, you cast a Veil and you win. Alright, I think that's all I've got to say. For those of you who watch this on YouTube, I hope you found something enjoyable about this league, and I'll see you again soon for some more Legacy content.